Okay, so I'm Reg Local and I like driving and writing and writing about driving. I've written a book about it, Advanced and Performance Driving, and I'll stick a link somewhere around here if you'd like a copy. Anyway, I thought I'd have a go at some YouTube stuff and make some videos about driving, of course, because it's one thing to read about new skills or how to improve your existing skills, but sometimes there's nothing better than a straightforward demonstration and explanation. Plus, some people are visual learners and they learn better by watching and observing and seeing skills put into action than just reading them in a book. The book can be a bit dry as well. So that's what this YouTube channel is all about. I'll be taking different aspects of driving, examining them in detail, and demonstrating them out on the road, in my car, in real life. There's a couple of things to bear in mind about these videos before we go any further. Firstly, my experience is primarily with road driving. I don't pretend to be an expert race or rally driver, so these videos will mostly concentrate on road driving, although we might do some track stuff in the future. I do have a track day car that we might take out maybe next year at some point. Second thing to bear in mind is that I used to teach at a police driving school, but these videos are for anyone of any level of skill, so forget the police thing. This is just about driving on the road to a high standard. The skills that we'll be looking at are for anybody, from a learner, somebody who's completely new to driving, right through to an experienced and well qualified advanced driver. Hopefully there'll be something for everybody. Some of the videos will concentrate on the more traditional roadcraft advanced driving, so that's the stuff that the Institute of Advanced Motorists, the police look at, and those videos will be useful to anyone looking to pass an advanced driving test, or anyone looking to improve their skills. Other videos will look at more general skills, which will be useful to anyone with an interest in driving. In particular, if you like driving cars fast, or if you like driving fast cars, or even better, if you like driving fast cars fast, you should find some stuff within these videos which will help keep you safe whilst allowing you to get the most from your car, whether it's a Trabant or a Testarossa. The first few videos will mostly be filmed in my own car. It's a fairly ordinary BMW 1 Series, but the skills I'll be demonstrating are the same, irrespective of what kind of car you drive. Over time we'll go out in a few different cars when we get the opportunity, and you'll see that I use the same basic principles in whatever car I drive. So I thought I'd start by taking a look at a skill which any good driver should try to master, and that's smoothness with the car's controls. And to start with, we're going to look at braking and how to brake smoothly. There's a whole chapter in the book about braking called Braking Bad, or How to Brake Good, and that's what we're going to look at today: how to operate the brake pedal smoothly. So what we're going to do, I've come to this long straight downhill piece of road, and I'm just going to demonstrate the difference between rough braking and smooth braking, and then I'm going to talk about how to operate the brake pedal correctly to come to a nice smooth stop. And we're going to be braking to a stop from fairly slow speeds. So one thing I am going to be doing here is I'm going to be bobbing the car into neutral. I don't recommend that you do that while the car's moving, but that's just going to allow us to look at the brake pedal on its own and look at my foot on the brake pedal on its own, so that you can see how I'm operating the pedal. So as we drive off down the road, just keep half an eye on my foot on the brake pedal and the other eye on the roller gaffer tape, and see how it reacts. So what I'm going to do this time is brake from a relatively slow speed, but do it in a fairly rough manner. So I'm going to bob the car into neutral. Again, I don't recommend that you do this, but you can just watch my foot on the brake pedal. So somebody who's poor at braking will come onto the brakes fairly rough, straight off the accelerator, jump onto the brakes, and look at how much that roller tape is swinging around there. So by comparison, if we do it smoothly from a similar speed, pop the car into neutral, doing a similar speed now, smooth braking, look at the tape, it's moving around far less. It's moving around obviously, but it's moving around far less than it was before. And we brake from a similar speed within a similar distance. So the idea is that we employ something called three-phase braking. So there's three phases to the braking that you're applying. There's the initial phase of braking, and at that point you smoothly just cover the brake pedal and start to apply the brakes. That pushes the brake pads up against the brake discs, starts the braking process, and lets the car know what you're going to do. The car wants to know what you're going to do. It doesn't want you to surprise it. It wants to know in advance what you're going to do, and by gently starting to apply the brakes just for half a second, you're letting the car know what you're doing. Then you move on to the second phase of braking, and that's where we really start to apply the brakes. Now, this could be a small amount of braking just to remove 10 miles an hour for a corner, or it could be a large bite on the brakes from 70, 80, 90 miles an hour, bringing it down to a stop. It doesn't really matter, it's the middle phase, and you will apply the brakes as much or as little braking as you need. So we talked before about the pedals not being switches. The brake pedal is not a switch. You can apply as much or as little brake pressure as you want in that middle phase of braking, and you can brake very hard. I use exactly the same technique if I'm on a track day with virtually threshold braking. That's the point at which the car's just about to lock its wheels up, so you can brake right up to that point where the brakes are about to lock up using this smooth technique, but still do it smoothly. And then there's the third phase of braking, which is where you're coming off the brakes. Now, if you brake into a stop, you'll keep a firm brake pressure on just till you're doing about 2 or 3 miles an hour, and then just ease back on the pedal slightly just to bring it to a smooth stop. If you're on the road and you're just braking to remove a little bit of speed, so you're coming up to a corner and you're braking from 60 down to say 40, you need to lose 20 miles an hour, it's just as important that you come off the brakes smoothly. And I'll talk about coming off the brakes rather than coming off the brakes. So we don't jump off anything, we just release the brakes, and what that does is that allows the car's weight to settle back onto its springs smoothly, particularly for a corner where you want the car balanced so that you can then turn the wheel and start to apply some acceleration into the corner. So let's look at it again. Watch my foot on the pedal. I'm going to brake to a stop in exactly the same way as we did before, nice and smoothly from a fairly low speed. Watch the roll of tape. I'm going to bob it into neutral now so you can just watch the brakes being applied. First phase, second phase now, squeezing the brakes up, and then for the third phase just gently easing back on the brake pedal till we come to a stop. Bob the handbrake on, then we're safe. So that's braking to a stop. Let's just do it one more time. First gear. Set off and pass these cars. Got a car coming up behind, so I'll bob a signal on, bob it into neutral, so you can just watch the braking. First phase, second phase, squeezing the brakes on a bit harder, and then just towards the end, easing up the brake pedal and coming to a smooth stop. And now we're going to do it one more time from a slightly higher speed this time. I'm going to leave the car in gear, use the clutch like I normally would. So first phase of braking, gently squeezing the brakes on, firming the braking up in the second phase of braking, pressing the clutch and just easing the brakes back in the third phase of braking for a nice smooth stop. Handbrake and neutral. So now we're going to look at how we apply that on the road. And we're going to find a few corners and do some braking for some corners and things like that. Okay, so I've come out to drive a little circuit of roads that I'm quite familiar with, but I haven't actually driven here for a few years now. So this should be interesting. Bit of a blast from the past. We're going to specifically concentrate on braking, but you will see me doing the whole range of other sort of advanced driving skills, if you like. Specifically cornering and using acceleration sense. So although I want you to look at how I'm operating the brakes, I also want you to look at how little I'm using the brakes. So I'll link a picture in picture with my feet on the pedals, and where you see stuff coming up that you might maybe expecting me to brake, you'll see me using acceleration sense. Now that's something we'll look at in another video. I'll look at that in detail in another video. We'll look at cornering, we'll look at system. For now, I want you to look at how I'm using the brakes, specifically the three-phase braking that I was talking about earlier on. It's a gentle application to start with, moving on to a firmer application and then easing off the brakes. So we're going to turn right up ahead, easing on the brakes, now firming the braking up and easing off the brakes before taking the gear and turning. So now moving to a following position on that Fiesta in front now, looking for the opportunity to overtake it. What I'm looking to do is keep a flexible gear ready to go when the opportunity presents itself. Looking through the corner, I can see there's a straight after this right-hander. Off a right-hander, there's often a good opportunity to overtake. There's the opportunity, but we haven't got the view. We have got the view, but there's a vehicle coming. Sideways for a look. There's other cars coming. So check how I use the brakes now. Gentle at first, firming the braking up. Good firm application. It's a sharp left-hand bend before turning in and balancing the car on the accelerator. Into the near side. No need for any brakes this time, just gentle application of accelerator. So up ahead I've got a triangle warning sign. It's a sign for a roundabout. We're taking second exit from that roundabout. Best approach is near side lane. Checking the mirrors on the approach. A cyclist as well on the approach, so I'll bear that in mind. Checking the mirrors again, lots of brake lines. So gentle braking at first, firming the braking up. Take a position out to pass the cyclist. Planning to stop, but I'm looking to go, so I'll come off the brakes when I know it's clear to go. Off the brakes now in third gear. Onto the roundabout. Shortest route around the roundabout. Check the mirrors. Left signal. I'll leave the roundabout. Straight up into a following position on the car in front. What I want you to also pay attention to is the way that we blend the operation of one control into the operation of the other. So you'll see that going from accelerator to brake, or back from the brake back onto the accelerator, you'll see that it's a smooth movement. So that real gentle release of the brake translates straight across into a very gentle initial application of the accelerator. Now you start with a gentle application, but you can build up to full throttle very quickly but still do it smoothly. And again, we'll look at acceleration, how you use the accelerator, acceleration sense, how the accelerator works in both ways in another video. In this one, like I say, we're looking at braking. So in the distance, got the road bending round to the left, taking a position towards the near side, towards the offside, sorry, to get a better view. And you'll see that there's a roundabout up ahead. So keeping that, maintaining that near side view by moving towards the left. We're going left, so I'm checking the mirrors, put a signal on now, and look at the braking, watch the braking. So off the accelerator, gentle first application, firming the braking up, and I'm not coming off the brakes until I know it's clear to go. So I'm looking for the view. We've got it now, it's second gear, and away we go. Moving up into a following position on the blue car in front. So off a right-hander sometimes there's an opportunity, the road's bending round to the left. keep a flexible gear, third gear. Checking the mirrors, there's nothing behind. If you up the near side, there's a nice straight, but there's a junction to the right, so we're not overtaking until we're past that junction. And now actually we've got a couple of oncoming cars, vehicles, and the overtake's no longer on. So relax, into fourth gear, keep that following position. Looking down the off side of the car, checking the mirrors, take third gear, and we're going now. Checking the mirrors, back into the near side, and nicely, smoothly turn into the left hand. So looking to the far distance now, the road's going round to the right, up in fifth gear, checking the mirrors. So position on the approach for this right-hander is going to be towards the near side, no need for any brakes. Nice open, fast corner. Keep a little bit of gas on just to balance the car through the corner. Keep it towards the near side, vehicle pulling out in front of us. Checking the mirrors. Might have to brake as we come up behind it. Actually we can pass it. A nice view into those entrances on the right, so it was nice and safe. Checking the mirrors. Take a near side position for the right hander. Look into the distance now, you can see there's a building there, warning signs for a series of bends, so we're going to have to brake quite firmly from this speed for that first left hander. Checking the mirrors, the accelerator, cross gently onto the brakes at first, firming the braking up, staying on the brakes until we've got the speed correct, then off the brakes, second gear. A little bit quick off the brakes that time, but it wasn't too bad because the speed was very low. So weighing this corner up now, trying to decide if we're going to need some brakes. I'm in third gear, which is giving me a little bit of retardation, slowing me down. Just a touch of brakes, nice and gentle, then off. Keeping to the near side because of the limited view. Wouldn't go offside too early there. Next left, brakes first, smoothly off the brakes, into gear. That's how we're blending one action into another. So we've got a little bit of open road in front of us now. I'm going to make a bit of good progress on this section. Just keep third gear for the right hander, no need for any brakes at this one. Balance the car with the throttle and firm the throttle right up onto the straight. Look in the distance. See that there's a chevron board pointing to the left. Looks like a very sharp left hand corner, so it's going to need some firm braking. So bear in mind when we're talking about braking, 3 phases. Checking the mirrors, gentle braking at first, firming the braking up in the middle, nice and smooth, getting the speed right down. It's a very tight left hander and we've got traffic coming towards us. Easing off the brakes and into second gear. And I'm glad we took a bit extra off there because that guy was right on the off side of the road. Looking through the corner now, firming the acceleration up. Away we go. So not always necessary to brake into these corners. Sometimes we can just carry a bit of speed through on the throttle. Position correct on the approach. Brake lights in the distance, sharp left hand bend. So we're going to need plenty of brakes. I'm looking across to the left, there's a car just coming towards us, can't see any more at the moment, so we might be able to nip a bit off the offside on the approach. Checking the mirrors, off the gas now, gently on the brakes at first, firming the braking right up now, nipping a bit off the offside, smoothly off the brakes into second, balancing the car on the throttle as we go around. We can take a bit off the offside on the way out as well. Looking across to the right, can't see any traffic coming towards us, smooth, firm braking, easing off the brakes. Second gear and balancing the car on the throttle, firming up the acceleration. So a little bit of offside position on the approach, a little bit of brakes, ease off the brakes, turn it in. Bear in mind the cyclist looking through the corner, not seeing any oncoming traffic, just got the one learner. right behind the cyclist till we get to that little corner, get the view. Series of bends for half a mile. First one to the left, checking the mirrors, gentle, then firm braking, then easing off the brakes, back on the throttle. Very tight through here, so just gentle throttle applications, third gear. No need to brake into everyone. Left-handers generally are tighter than right-handers because we're on that side of the road. Take second gear, balance the car on the throttle, firm the acceleration up. Checking the mirrors, near side position, off the gas, gently on the brakes, firming the braking up, easing off the brakes, turning in and accelerating gently. Okay, that's it for this section on braking and braking smoothly. We'll revisit braking again in another video. But that's the basics. That's everything you need to know to start with about smooth braking. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you've learnt a little bit of something. If you haven't, fair enough, drop back, have a look, see if there's something else you want to look at. Have a look at some of the other videos when I post them. Leave me your comments. If you like it, press the like button. And don't forget to subscribe so you get an update every time I post a new video. And remember to go and have a look at the book if you want to have a read. Loads and loads of information. It's available through Amazon, either in paperback or ebook. So I'm Reg Local, thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.